So, Happy New Year, or if you are going to enter now, the here's Happy New Year to you guys. Today, we're going to talk about the books I'm going to read in January. I'm going to do a bit different this year compared to the last one, see if it works. Just, do you like my, I don't know, it's called Gurro. In Portuguese, it's Gurro. Bina, I believe. It's Space Marine dedicated. So, let's start with this book. So what I'm going to talk here are the books that I'm going to read in this next month. I'm going to do it different, and I'm going to try to read more trilogies, fantasy and so on, trying to change my mind, because usually last year I noticed that I read a lot of independent novels, so basically not part of series. Fantasy was completely miss. So this year I'm going to do something different. I'm going to choose 6 books that I'm going to read, and then if I finish them all, which I guess I can do it easily, because usually the books are around 2000 pages. If I read 100 pages per day, which is my goal, I will probably read more books. So that's my goal, and I have like the books from the beginning of the year to the end, and then I'm going to have some books I'm going to enter because I bought them, because I received them, or well, received, I don't receive, because I bought them back in throughout the year 2026. So, and I made a list, you can see here. So let's start with the month of January, and I'm going to briefly talk about each book, what I can, so you know what I'm going to, if it's not the first book. The first book is a sequel from another book, strangely enough, from a book I read in November, which is Counter-Strike. This is the second book in the Annihilation series by Joshua T. Calvert, which is a sci-fi novel that focused on the invasion of Earth by another 2 species, not one but 2 species, alien species. Basically they are fighting, and we are, well, there just because it's a shame, because we are there. And this is very similar with this book here, the Robert McMahon and the Border, which is the same thing, 2 alien species fighting, and we are just there. And this one is the same, but this one is a bit different. This is more fast-paced novel. You can read this pretty easily. I read the first one pretty easily, so let's see. We follow a Greek guy and a couple of soldiers, and it has 296 pages. This is the first book. The second book, it's going to be the first book in the series, is going to be Winter World by A.G. Riddle. This book, it's the first book in a trilogy called, I don't know, Winter World? Long Winter series. I'm going to read the second and the third in the next few months, so one of the things I noticed is I'm going to read 1 book per month, or if I enjoy a lot of the book, imagine that I enjoy so much this, I want to read the second one, I will just drop a book from the other, and so on. So, I'm going to read the synopsis just so you know what is about, but basically it's a post-apocalyptic sci-fi book. It was the last thing we expected, but the world is freezing. A new ice age has dawned, and humanity has been forced to confront its own extinction. Billions have fled the glaciers, crowding out in the world's last habitable zones. They can run from the ice, but they can't escape human nature. A cataclysmic war is coming. In orbit, a group of scientists are running the winter experiments, a last-ditch attempt to understand why the planet is cooling. None of the climate models they build make sense, but then they discover an anomaly, an explained variation in solar radiation, and something else. Close to the burning edge of the sun, they catch a fleeting glimpse of something that shouldn't be there. Suddenly, humanity must face the possibility it's not alone in the universe, and the terrifying possibility that whatever is out there may be trying to exterminate us. So basically, it's, again, as I said, post-apocalyptic, but with scientific space stuff. So It's told in two perspectives, if I'm not mistaken. One the astronaut, the other a scientist. So I'm I did read like two chapters of this book, like to see if I enjoyed the novel, and I really love it. So yeah, eagerly waiting for this one. Then, uh, because we're talking about sci-fi, the third one, Deja Vu, by Peter Calder. One of the goals I have is to read a Peter Calder book every 2 months. He writes science, uh, sorry, science fiction novels, but with a hint of philosophical, with a hint of biology. So it's not pure sci-fi, space battles and so on. So it's more. It calls it the First Contact series, and basically are can travel in. We are already in space and meet something. It's on Earth already, and sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's more dark. It really likes to enjoy and read, to write how humanity uh, will interact with alien beings, but in different scenarios, in different times of our existence, and so on. Deja vu. Jessica Rowe is an astrobiologist on board the starship Interpret, bound to the star system Procyon Alpha A. As much as he tries to quell her nerves, she can't shake the feeling she's going to die. She feels as though she's never going to leave the Interpret alive, and she's right. Yeah, so very eager to read this one as well. Deja Vu. Then we have I'm going to read a book by Darcy Coates every month. I have 12 books to read. I have 12 months, so that's it. Darcy Coates was a writer. I read a couple of 2 or 3 novels, and I really enjoyed. And okay, this is my or writer that I'm most interested to read. This and the new one, which is Lee Montfort. I will probably read one of his books, probably in January if I have the time. 8 strangers, 1 killer, nowhere left to run. When Krista joins the tour group heading deep into the Rocky Mountains, says hopefully this will be her last chance to put the ghost of her past to rest. But when a bitterly cold snowstorm sweeps the region, the small group is forced to take shelter in an abandoned hunting cabin. Despite the uncomfortable claustrophobic quarters and rapidly dropping temperature, Krista believes they will be safe as they wait out the storm. She couldn't be more wrong. Deep in the night, their tour guide goes missing, only to be discovered the following morning, his severed head impaled on a tree outside the cabin. Terrified and completely isolated by the storm, Krista finds herself trapped with eight total strangers. One of them kills for sport, and they are far from finished. As the storm grows more dangerous and the number of survivors dwindles one by one, Krista must decide whom she can trust before his frozen mountains becomes her tomb. Again, another winter book to read in the next few months. Now, 2 more. Another horror, which is The Hour of the Oxroom Death. This is probably my most difficult book of these 6 because I've read 2 of Charles L. Grant novels, and I thought that it was I didn't overly enjoy them. He writes what people call it the quiet horror, so it's horror that slowly builds up, and I'm afraid I may not enjoy it, and I have all of the books, so I don't know, but I will read it nevertheless. Oxrum Station could be a spooky place, especially out by the Windsor Place, right next to the graveyard. All night, Natalie heard eerie sounds out in the fog amongst the tombstones, and natural sounds made by unearthly things. Natalie's husband has been born in Oxrum Station. He loved the town and served it well, and in return it killed him. Ben's death had left Natalie isolated in a strange town she could not call her own. How strange and how deadly Oxford Station could be, Natalie Windsor was just about to learn. Once each year, an ancient ritual is recreated, an ancient pact reinvoked, and Natalie Windsor was this year's sacrifice. This is the first book in Oxford City Books or whatever the station books. There are like 13 or so. Um, Let me check. Yeah, The Grave, The Cursed, Oxford Red, The Last Call of the Morning, and The Sound of Midnight. All of these are within this world, although they can read pretty independently from what I've been hearing or heard. The fifth book is a fantasy one. This is the first fantasy series I'm going to start. This is my difficult and my goal this year. Read more fantasy. And so we start with Morgan Stang, The Wolf and the She-Bear. This is a novel within our series, and this is like a prequel of the series, the Bartram's Law series. And this is a prequel. Mercenary Samantha Red Wine, but with a Greek eye, gonna call it like that, has seen too much blood spilled by her sword. She travels to the frigid north to get away from her ghost, but doesn't find peace for long. The job? Help deliver a wagon of wolf skins to a nearby village. The complication? A band of cutthroats on the hunt for a missing wagon with a priceless package hidden within. Pursued by ruthless men, believe her a thief. Samantha fights herself. Double-crossed, wounded and alone in a deadly forest. Armed with just her wits and fight for survival, she discovers that some bloody habits are hard to break. But it's the longest night of the year, and man, it's the only thing chasing. And man, in this case, isn't just the only thing chasing Samantha. The woods are lovely, dark, and deep. This place folk tales come from, where monsters dwell, and before the night is over, Samantha will have to confront not only death, but the unknown, lurking just beyond the safety of sanity of civilized world. So, this is I've read another book by Morgenstern. I really enjoyed. That's why I pick up this and not, for example, Rob G.A.'s or other fantasy stuff that I have it here. So I picked this up. So these are 6 books. In total, there are 1,940 pages. So again, 2,000 pages, as I said. And then, if I have the time, I'm sorry, I will erase this. Not. I will try to read something else. So, one of my goals as well this year, and probably this next, I'm going to start this month also, is going to read 3 big novels, either Shogun or Larry McMurtry, or The Power of Dog by Don Winslow. I don't know which one, to be honest. I will try to get one, at least one per quarter or one every 6 months, because I think that these kind of big books, they haunt me. They really, and so maybe I will read a book each quarter or something like that. I will put my challenge to this. Then I have a lot of other novels to read. For example, these ones here. You've got Vampire Hunter D, which I should have read last year. Herald of Ruin, the Arkham Horror stuff. Philip Fracassi, The Haunted Springs Retirement Home. Making History, K.J. Parker. Another Lee Montfort, Darkfall. Book 4 of the Clan stuff. Agatha Christie, trying to finish all her novels. Strange Pictures, one of my favorite books that I read last year, horror stuff, Oketsu, by Oketsu. Dark Space by Jospati Scott, the first book in the series. One of my latest purchases, Veil by Jonathan Jans. Drawer Lansley, Savage Season. And one of my last purchases, which I really enjoyed the concept. I bought this book on a concept stuff, which is The Last Policeman by Ben Winters. So asteroid is coming, destroy Earth. There is no escape, and but there is also a murder, and society starts falling, and so this guy is a detective, and I believe it's her sister is died, is dead, is killed in this case, and so he must try to find the murderer. But the end is an eye, and all will die in a couple of months. So why? And this is the concept of before we die. We imagine that we know that we are going to die in 1 year, like an asteroid or something like that. I would guess that humanity would kill before that. Yeah, we are auto-destructive, and this is my first pick of all of these. This is my first pick because I was so enthralled by this concept. Although I don't know if I'm going to enjoy the novel. Ben Winter doesn't have like great reviews, but the concept of the novel is so interesting that I really want to read it. So yeah, that's it for me. I will try to make a new video every fortnight, so every 15 days. It's, I believe fortnight is 15 days. Um, to 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 tell you how I been dealing, or maybe I will read just one video back in the end, and maybe in the alpha I will tell you about the next year, the next month picks. But I don't know. I will try to see how I feel about this. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And since the new year is coming, and I probably will not make another video by then, I wish you a good, how do you say in English, good opening. In Portuguese say boas entradas, so good openings, I don't know. So hope everything with you checks out, and you have a great year for you and your family. Thank you all.